Right. नहीं लेकिन कैमरा चला गया होगा आ रहा है ना इनपुट वगैरह सब सही चलो All right. Hello, everyone. Just do let me know if I'm audible and screen is also visible to you so that we can start this session as soon as possible. And anyone is joining today. So basically what we are going to do in this session is that CodeVita's already there is round one that has happened last week. So basically we are going through some of the questions of round one, zone one. So this might help you in terms of if anyone here who is giving the CodeVita this weekend. So do let us know in the live chat if you're going through this exam. And we are going to discuss some of the questions that basically we have that been asked in the CodeVita first round. So anyone, just do let me know what was your experience with CodeVita round one, zone one, if someone who has joined. And before actually we are starting, so as you can notice, we are setting up some new setup in terms of to improve the quality of the video. So do let me know if my screen is visible and I'm audible clearly. There's no kind of echo, so that we are good to start with the session. All right, so chat box here is open for you, everyone. So please, before we start the session, let me know if I'm audible so that we will start. And as you can see, we are going to discuss some of the questions that have been asked in the CodeVita. And like you can see, we will just go to code. So basically, there's round one, zone two is going to be happening next to. All right, so this is for zone two, I guess. So, and we are going to basically discuss about the questions which have been asked in the zone one. All right, so before we actually go and start with the questions, so I want to know from your end that we have. All right, so here we have good number of people joined so that we can start the session here. All right, so what I did is basically we have picked some of the questions which this is the first question that we have in terms of which has been asked in the CodeVita round one, zone one. So we are going to solve this specific question, and do let me know anyone have tried this question. And here we have like Nandan. Basically, if you have, I didn't. So here we have like I didn't get mail for both mock quitters, but I message to mobile number. Do I get mail for round one, zone one, round two? So basically, they have started sending the mails to for the round one. So round one, zone two. So please check if you have got the mail or not. Then we have tell me what's the process of plagiarism. So in terms of the plagiarism, what happens is that whenever you submit the code. So I have seen like even one live that I went before there was a last minute preparation that we had and we have gone live. And there also I've explained that whenever you're solving this kind of a code and they check for the plagiarism. So your code must be something that you have written. So it is not something from the internet. So even if you, and there is so many students that they've seen. So 90% of the submission get disqualified every year because of the plagiarism. So make sure plagiarism is something that you're just checking someone else's code and making a few fixes and you're submitting the code as it is. So the AI of this CodeVita's where they test the code is really good. It can identify if you have been using someone else's code. So make sure you write it something of your own while submitting, and do not worry, there's nothing that you can do. So even if most of the time what happens is that even if you have written your own code and it might also get into the plagiarism. So look at this test in terms of that in order to understand how good you are at coding. So look at it as a competition that you're giving. All right. So basically here the first question that we have, we will start with the question one. I've solved the question similar to bubble sort. Okay. So this is the question that we have. So do let me know if the question is visible for you, and we will start with this one. So basically this is the question that we have, which is named as a good string. And So in order to solve this, so there we have a picnic famous museum is being planned in a school class of sixth, and I'm not going to read the entire question. So as on the screen you can see it, but we'll just look at the important part that what is context of this question. So basically, there's a teacher and they have to come up with an idea, which is a good string, which explained below. So basically, let's understand what is the good string here. So good string is provided as an input, so we have to give that as an input. All letters in the string are good string. So good letters need to be used in further computations as explained below. So the teacher asked all the students to convert their names. So each and every student, they have to convert their names into the good names with the help of good string. While converting, they have to calculate the distance. So they have to calculate the distance. Based on that, she will arrange the students in a queue. So basically, all the students are going to visit this museum. There's a lot of quarreling in terms of in the line. So teacher came up with an idea that she wants in terms of convert all the name of the students in a good name, and that good names are converted based on the good string that we have. So for converting a name into a good name, each letter of I, basically each letter, like someone's name is like my name is Rishikesh, so each letter of my name is going to be converted, and for that we need to convert that into ASCII value. So I hope you know what is the ASCII value. Then here we have nearest, select the nearest letter from the good name, and distance is calculated as the difference between the ASCII value of I and the selected good letter that we have. Okay, so now let's look at this. We have the question here. So the question is so big. So as you can see, we have this question here, and before that, let's look out what expected more is. If there are two letters which are equivalent from I, then we have to select the letter which is nearest to the previously good used good letter that we have. So in that case, distance will be the difference between the ASCII value of previously good used letter and the selected letter. And if I is already present in the good string, then no need to change it initially. Then previously good letter will be the first letter of the good string. Calculate the total distance of the given. So given the student's name, we have to calculate the total distance, and for each student, and based on all the distances that we written, and the teacher will decide like how to make people stand, all the students in the line. All right, so that's why we have to calculate the distance for each student, that the name that they have given. So what is the note that we have? So letters from good string can be reused any number of times. So that's let's keep that. Let's look at some of the constraint that we have. So whatever the input that we are going to get, so these are the constraint. So length of good string is between 1 to 100 that we have here. Then a length of the name is going to be 1 to 10 raised to the power 4. And after that, the good string will consist of lower, upper case alphabets, digits, and symbols. So the first input that we are going to give, which is a good string. After that, name will only consist of space, then the lower and uppercase alphabet. So name is going to consist of only there is no special characters that we have, or there are no numbers that we consist in name. Then characters are case sensitive. Why case sensitive? Why it is important? Because we are going to convert them into ASCII characters. So each ASCII value of A and A is going to be different, right? So that's why it is considered as a case sensitive, and we have to be sure about that. The ASCII values for all the characters in good string and name will be between 32 to 126. So all the characters, even this kind of like alphabet, like @ ash, this also we can consider into the ASCII. So which ranges from 32 to 126. So this is what we have in terms of the question. And what is the input format that we have? The first input that you're going to get, or you have to give, is the line which consists of a good string. It could be anything which ranges of ASCII values 32 to 126. After that, second line consists of the name of the student who is confused to implement the task. Then what is the output that we are expected is the total distance from that name that we have. All right, so this is what we have. And in order to solve this, we have some of the examples as well. So the given here, what we have, this is the input. That is, we have as a good string. All right, then this is this name, we have to convert that into a good name. And once you do that, the output that we have is a 10, and we need to identify how that 10 as an output that we got here. All right. So what we have to solve it, just before we are actually going to solve this question, do let me know in the chat box, like anyone here who joined today, who, attempted this question and whether they got the question or not. Let's have a look upon here the chat. So if the variable are changed and more change, then is what. So basically, Deepak, just do let me know your question more detail so that Acha, you're asking regarding the plagiarism. So even if you just change the variable, it might possible that it will be cast as a plagiarism. So there is no defined in a way that how you can identify not plagiarize is that basically try to do on your own. So do take the reference from the internet, or if you find any kind of a solution or similar kind of a solution, do take that reference from about the algorithm or about the approach, but do not try and paste, copy and paste as it is. So try to just take a reference and solve it on your own. Then we have good string problem, private test case, not run for me. Okay. So we'll have in terms of, that's good. So at least you have tried. So Priyanka, just can you let me know what the algorithm that you have used here in terms of solving that? So some of your test cases might have run, right? So here, what is the thing that we have to solve here? The first thing, let's have a look at that. So here we have, this is the good string, and we need to convert all these characters into ASCII values. So I have to save the time. What I did is I've already converted all this. I have made and sure that we'll have all these values get converted into the ASCII values. So basically here we have all the ASCII values in terms of the ASCII value of this opening bracket and at the rate. So we have added all this. So it is, since this is in array format, so we are going to have like the index, so and like 4, 5 and up to all the index till the end of the string that we have. All right. So once we have got this, so we need to find basically the distance between this character, like the first character from that string, to like any nearby distance of all the good characters. So in order to find that, again, we need to convert this into ASCII as well. So basically, if I want to convert this capital V into the ASCII, so here we have, all right, so basically, if I have to convert that, this capital V into the ASCII, so that will be somewhere like a 86 that we have. So you can check that value, or you can use the, any website on the internet. You can just go back and there you can get the ASCII value. You do not have to worry on that. All right. Once you do it, then we will check. We have to compare it whether how it belongs. So before actually we are going with the each and every character, what we will do is we will sort the first character. So basically here we have, this is basically all the ASCII values that we have as it is, and this is the sorted array that we have. Sorted array of all the ASCII values. So this we have sorted, and as you can see, we have all the sorted array of the first array that we got. Once we get that, we are going to approach. So in order to solve this problem, we are going to use binary search. So we are going to find the first from the name. We are going to take the first character, which is 86. And in order to binary search, you need like start, end, and mid, right? So basically, start is nothing but here the first approach. The first step, if you're going to find the start is nothing but is going to be 0. Then the end that we have is 1, 2. Right. So here the end is going to be 10, as we can see, and we need to find this mid. So in order to find the mid, the formula is going to be, so here we have, for example, let's say the start, we can say as L and end as R. So basically the mid is going to be L plus R modulus of 2. So in terms divide by 2, so that I'm using in terms of the Python. So because we want the float, right? So basically that's why the value that we want should be like a whole number. So that's why we are using this operator in the Python. So apart from in another programming language, you can use a single division and it still works for that. All right. So once we get that, so once we calculate this mid value, so somewhere here for the first example, the mid value is going to be 5. We are going to check whether the 86 is greater than mid or not. And if it is greater than, if it is equal to mid or not. So there are more conditions. So we will check if the V is, or let's say if that is like we have this string as S1, this one is S2. So S2 of 0 should be, is it less than mid? Or we can check if S2 of 0 equal to mid, or S2 of 0 is greater than mid, or you can directly write the else part of this program. So it depends on, you will check whether you want to search upon this part, or you want to search upon this part, or if it is a middle part. And once we do that, we are going to subtract this value from this mid or the first character, and we will get the distance from that. So that's what we are going to do, and we are going to iterate on each term in order to get the middle value. And at the end of this, for we will do for V, then we will do the same for Y, then O and M. And combining all these values, you're going to get a distance, like after performing all the operations, and that distance needs to be smaller, and which will be 10, as we can see the output. So this is what the approach is going to be in terms of solving this problem statement. You are going to need a binary, you have to implement binary search algorithm. So here I will show you the implementation that we did. All right, so basically, do let me know if the screen is visible for you, the Python code that we have here. All right, so the first thing that we have is we are going to collect this S1, which is the input from the user. Then we will take the name here. And once we take the name, we are going to perform, like we are going to, using this order ID, we are going to create that list that I have shown you, like all the ASCII values. So here we will create that for all the ASCII values. Once you create that, we are going to use the sort method in terms of sorting that in a ascending order. After that, here we have used the result 0. So basically result is nothing but we are going to keep the track of all the distance. Initially, we have set it as 0. Previous is nothing but initially we are going to use this S1 of 0. So which is basically initially set to ASCII value of the first character of good string that we are going to set. Then we are going to use this for loop in order to iterate this name. Like we have, so for the first character from the name, we are going to pick the O. We will calculate its ASCII value, which is 86. Here we will get that. And L and R we are going to set in terms of the pointers for the binary search that we are going to do. And initially this good we have set as infinite in terms of what this good is pointing at. It's the distance between the current character and the distance of the selector character that we have. Once we do that, we have selected the current as -1. So here we are going to implement. So basically, let's say this is the 0 index. This is the index 10. This is L and R. So here we are going to implement the mid. We are going to calculate the mid first, and we will check if the mid is equal to the value of B. If not, it will jump to the else part where we'll check if the mid is less than equal to B. And again, we will check to the part. So here we will go back to the else part like I've shown. So we need to check the 3 condition in terms of the binary search. We will check to the else part. So whenever that condition is good, for example, let's say initially this A of mid is less than equal to B. So basically A of mid that we have is A of 5 is less than B. A of 5 value that we have here is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is 105. 105, we will check if it is less than what is the value of B, which is 86. All right, so here we have to check for this. I'm sorry, this will be actually 82 is less than 86. So if it is false, it will jump to the else part here, and we will calculate the absolute value of A of mid minus B. So what is A of mid that we have? So which we have is 82 minus 86. And since we are getting the absolute value, it will not be in a negative. This will be 4. And initially we have set the good as infinite. So this will basically it is less than infinite, which is 4 that we have, right? So based on that, we are going to get all these values calculated, and iteratively we will calculate each and every iteration for like the given name v, y, o, m. All this iteration we will do, and then you will get the result updated based on it. So what we will do is we will execute this here, and in order to do that, I have given the input. Let's take this input here for the first iteration. All right, so let's execute this part, and let me just clear this screen before we actually execute it. Okay, so we need to delete this. All right, so now let's execute this part. Here we have the good string, which is given as, and the name of the student, we have this, and here you got the 10 as an output. So you can basically check the same in terms of, we have another example for this input, there you will get the output as a 33. That is the distance that you are going to get. All right, so this was the first question. So basically here you needed in terms of to implementing the binary search, and if you're, let's say, you have already implemented this and it was worked, then it's good. Otherwise, let's say if you want to have a look at the code, so this is the code, and if you need, just do let us know in the chat box or in the comment section, so that we will provide this code to you in the comments. And this was basically a Python implementation, but we have implementation in terms of Java and C++ as well. So I'll just show you on the screen. Later on, basically, you can pause the video, take the screenshot, and you can try to implement on your own. Or we have given a link in terms of where you can request this code for on a Discord server. So just get to the Discord, and there you will get this solution as well. So this was the first question. So do let me know in the chat box if you are able to do it, or we will, jump into the another question that we have seen. All right, so do let me know before we go starting with the next question, is that anyone was able to solve this question. There was another question that has been asked as a zero count. So basically, comparatively, the question that we have seen, the first one, this one was very easy. And I can expect that many of you might have gone through this and you have solved. So, all right, so what we can do is, so here, let's Okay, so now let's try to understand this question, and let's see how to approach this question as well. So basically, this is the problem statement that we have in terms of zero count. And basically here you are given a binary string B of length L, which consists of k ones, and remaining are zero. So, all right, then you are required to place k ones in the binary string in such a way that the longest consecutive zeros have the least length possible. So one such a binary string is constructed, you are required to print the length of the contiguous blocks of zeros, which has the largest length. And what is the constraint that here you have? So 0 is less than equal to k and less than equal to L. And the length is basically the length of that string that you're going to get should be in between 1 to 10 raised to power 6. All right. So this is what we have. Let's have a look at the example and let's try to discuss. So in terms of the input that you're going to give, so the single line consists of the two spaces separated integers. So basically the input that you're going to give is like you have to take two numerical values, one for the L and one for the K. And the output should be in a print a single integer denoting the length of the longest consecutive zeros as per the problem statement. So here we have the input. So basically L here is 3 and K equal to 1. So what is this meaning is that we are going to have the string of 3 length, where there's to be one has to be present. So basically, for example, what could be the possible string that we can make here is like either it's going to be 0 0 1, then 0 1 0, or 1 0 0. So these are the three possible strings that you can come up with, where the length equal to 3, and there has to be at least one present in that given string. So once you get these strings, out of these strings, you need to find what is the consecutive zero that has appeared. So basically, if you count here, so here we have 2 zeros, Then here we have only 1 0, and here we have 2 0. So this is the consecutive number of zeros that is present. And out of these, you have to select the minimum value that we have, which is we have as a 1. So that's why the output that we got is 1 here. So let's have a look at one more example that we have here. So here we have the input, which is L equal to 3 and K equal to 3. So what could be the possible input that we have here? So here this condition says that K represents the condition that number of times 1 needs to be appeared, right? So which is basically 3 times it has to appear, and that's why the possible string, if we calculate, so it is going to be 1, 1, and 1. So it doesn't matter how many times you're going to replace this 1 and 1 and 1. If you change the position also, it's always going to be the same string. So it doesn't matter how many possibilities that you make. So that's why how many number of times the 0 is occurred continuously that we have is the output is going to be 0. So also we have the same implementation of this in the Python. Let's have a look at that. So this is what the implementation, it might look very simple, but again, you have to think in terms of like how this problem can be solved. So first thing is that looking at the code, you might see seeing that, okay, this was the very easiest question. But when you read the question in the exam, it might, you have to come across, you have to understand what actually logic that has happened. So basically here, in the main, we are going to take the input from L and K, given the value in the first example, that is like 3 and 1 that we will give. Then we will split that on dot split, and then we will going to pass that into zero count function, the value of L and K. So this will call this function. We are going to check if the K value is 0. So given the value of K is 0, we will directly return the value of L. So that many number of possible, for example, let's say if we gave like 3 and 0, right? So what is the longest consequent that we are going to have is like, it is possible that 3 times we are going to have there's no 1 that is going to present in all the binary string that we have, right? So that's why we can directly give the length of that string, which is the possible. Then we are going to check if the K value is equal to L, which is the previous example that we have seen. If let's say 3 and 3, so maximum zeros is going to be 0 that we're going to have. So all the values are going to be 1, 1, 1. So then there's no number of, all consistently we have to place this many number of ones, right? So that's why the answer is going to be 0 times 0 is going to appear. Then we have if the K value is greater than 0. So given here, if the K value is greater than 0, it doesn't matter how many iterations that you do, how many number of possibilities that you make of any string, it's always going to be the one consecutive zeros that you're going to have. So even while I was solving this code, so even if you, let's say, if you take the L equal to 5 and K equal to 3, so you can break it down into the multiple possible string as many times as you can go. So, but once you get all the values, you're going to boil down to the same number that you can. So basically, this was, I have assumed as the easiest question in terms of whatever asked in that entire questions. And if you want to, go through more questions like this, so here's the link that we have. And this is, you can find the link, or someone might, we can keep this link in the description. So here you have, these are another questions that we got in terms of like good string that we have explained. The zero count is something that we have explored as well. Apart from that, string from rank, then we have online shopping, then supermarket. Then this is another question that been asked. So these are the 6 questions from round 1, zone 1. So if you want to go and test of other questions as well, if you have exam this weekend, you can just check this course. And if you want, like if you're already Prime subscriber, basically what you can do is you can go to Prep Insta Prime. Here we have, if you scroll down, here we have CodeVita. So on this, you can just get everything that you need in terms of like, just give me a moment. All right, so basically here you have all kind of a coding questions that you can get, which most probably, like, once you go through all these questions, you will be in a position to solve the questions at the day of the exam. So here we have covered most of the questions that you can expect in the CodeVita. So this is a dedicated course that we have for the CodeVita. But apart from that, not just by following the CodeVita, in terms of solving the any questions, you need to have good knowledge of like data structures. So I would recommend you to just check the data structure. So if you're going to give this test in the Python, so check the Python data structures. Otherwise, in terms of Java, if you want to go, check the Java in the data structures. And once you do that, then I would recommend you to basically solve some of the competitive coding questions from this module. And once you complete like competitive coding and data structures, then go with this model on CodeVita, then you will be in a good position in terms of solving the upcoming test. All right. So apart from that, if you have any kind of a queries, so do let us know in our Discord, or you can comment down. So our team will be there to help you out with respect to all the things. All right. So I hope I hope this was helpful for you in terms of solving this kind of a question. Even if you need one more live in terms of that, so do let us know, and we'll come live and we will solve upcoming coding test questions as well. All right. That's it for the video, guys. I will see you upcoming in the next one.